In this video, we're going to change the way that you use Dynamo forever. Just kidding, maybe. This is a Monocle update video, so I added some new features to Monocle, and if they change your Dynamo life, really cool. If not, sad, but yeah. This is a Monocle update. There are a few new features, and let's go over them right now in this video. Alright, so first things first, Monocle has been updated to 2024.5.2. You go to the package manager, download that, and you should be good to go. That is the latest version available to you. Awesome, you'll be good to go. Jumping in Dynamo, I'm in Dynamo Sandbox. Dynamo 3.0 for this testing, but this works all the way back to Dynamo 2.0. What we're going to go ahead and do is just place a few nodes. So I'm going to place a 1, I'll place an X in a code block or a C, just some kind of variable to have an input. And then what we'll go ahead and do is place another node that's just a variable. Connect these nodes, and then we'll drag this node on the wire. What if those nodes could connect automatically in Dynamo? Wow, that's something I've wanted since I've started using Dynamo, I think, and I'm really excited that I've been able to do it now. All you have to do is hold down the left Alt key and drag it over, and it connects. The other setting is under Monocle, and it is called the Inline Node Connect O-Matic. So there you have it. That's now available in Monocle. You enable it, and then you have to hold down the Alt key to make it work. I added that because I actually found that I was making mistakes while testing it, and I just don't want to have that happen to you. So the left Alt key is also required. Let's go ahead and add another node to test this, and this is the exact use case that I wanted this for. So if we go ahead and hold down not Control, but Alt, it will connect those first ports. So the way this works is it actually does a first port to first port connection. So this one is X and var, and it connects that, and then you're good to go from that point of view. So it does work in that way. That's the Alt command, and you're good to go from that point of view. If I drag it and hold down Alt to any part of the wire that's not roughly the center, it won't work. So it is expecting the center of the wire. Monocle is open source, so if you're curious how I did that, it is on the GitHub. Shout out to Conrad from Archilab for the code that he has in Archilab that helped me realize how to do this. It's a clash detection essentially with the wires, which is really cool. So very cool of Conrad to have that open source and available for everyone to learn from. Monocle's open source as well for you to learn from as well. Yeah, so that's that first feature, the Inline Node Connect-O-Matic. All right, so for this next sample, I need to open Dynamo 3.1 just to show how it works. So if I go to the About panel, you'll see Dynamo 3.1. With Dynamo 3.1, they introduced some panel nodes, first of all, that are really cool. So I encourage you to take a look at them. This release isn't in Revit yet, so I'm going to make a video showing how to do that. I have a really old video showing how to do that. I'll link that below, but I'll make an updated one to show how to hack your Revit to load a newer version of Dynamo. You shouldn't do it, but if you want to, I'm not going to stop you. So yeah, I'll make that video soon. So this next new feature for Monocle, I was going to demonstrate it using the latest daily build because there's a new home screen experience that they're adding for Dynamo potentially. I've seen it in the source code. However, I'm not seeing it in the latest daily build, so I'll include a little screenshot of it just that way you can see what's maybe coming. There's a tool in Monocle that's going to help with it though. So I'm just opening a sample graph that I used. I actually just used this recently to make node icons for Rhythm. So it is in the Rhythm GitHub if you want to check it out, but it makes all the icons for the package, which is pretty cool. However, if you go to extensions, graph properties, these have been in Dynamo since Dynamo 2.12. Graph properties are really cool because they influence Dynamo Player, generative design, and other things. So I encourage you to fill these out. There is an option for an image for a thumbnail. This really comes into play for Dynamo Player, which is really nice, and it helps it show in the Dynamo Player interface. With that new UI, which once again, here's an image of it, they are adding the thumbnail in the home screen preview, and by default, I think it'd be nice if it shows the graph preview if you don't have one already. And exporting those is tedious, so you have to do export as image, workspace, and then pick the image and bring it back in, and it encodes it as what is called base 64. So it's serialized in the Dynamo file, and you don't need the source image anymore. That's tedious. I'd rather have one button to do it, so that's what I've implemented in Monocle. If you go to the file menu, we have a few things in here from Monocle actually. So better saves in here, which does quick saves and all those kind of things. And now we have a quick graph thumbnail. This quick graph thumbnail, if you click it, it will go through. If the file saved, it exports out the current image and brings it back in as your thumbnail. So it does all that in one button, and it syncs it to your temp files. So it exports that image temporarily to your temp files. That way it can bring it right back in. So you can see I now have a nice little thumbnail of my graph, and I'm good to go. That's a new feature in Monocle as well. It is in there, so you can use it if you'd like to create those quick thumbnails. It only does the graph view just because if you want something a bit more advanced, you should probably just make that yourself. If we go to another new feature, or a bug fix rather, that I found recently. So with the Revit 2025 release and the Dynamo 3.0 release, we migrated to Net 8. So .NET 8 instead of .NET Framework 4.8. That changed quite a few things for us as package authors, but it did break a few things as well. Thankfully, Monocle and Rhythm are compatible in a large array of Revit products and Dynamo products. Rhythm works specifically from Revit 2020 to Revit 2025, and Monocle should work the same. I test it from Revit 22 and up, and then Dynamo Sandbox 2.12 and up. It works in all of those versions. Compatibility is something I care deeply about. Compatibility is something I care deeply about, so that's just one thing to keep in mind. So this bug fix is regarding standard views. So if you click on any of these little icons in any version of Dynamo, they now work again. They were broken during the initial Revit 2025 release with Monocle, so those are fixed now. Once again, Monocle has been updated. I hope you use it and have fun with it. It is open source. It's one of those packages that, I make it, so I'm a little biased, but I'm pretty intent on documenting my Dynamo graphs the best I can and cleaning them up, and Monocle helps with that a lot in really fun ways. Monocle is also localized for several different languages, and there is a shout out in the Monocle About window for all the people that have helped with all the different languages in Monocle now. So shout out to all these guys. Thanks for helping out. Let me know if the language isn't quite working in your version and we'll look at it, but it should be good to go from that point of view. So yeah, there you have it, Monocle updates. Check it out, download it on the package manager, and we'll see you in the next video.